We live in a world filled with kings who make our yokes heavy and our lives very difficult, with taxes and raising the gas prices and more taxes. But King Jesus shows up from another atmosphere and he says, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light." But what does he mean by that? So we've been called out of a world to a king's yoke that's easy. Now let's read Matthew 11, verse 28. "Come to me, all you who labor, all those in chains and bondage. Come to the true king and are overly burdened." That's the curse from Adam, because Adam didn't want to follow God and keep the Sabbath. So then we received thorns, thistles, birth pains, and I will give you rest. The Sabbath is a gift to mankind in this physical world, but it points to the kingdom. That's the ultimate rest. "Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest for your souls." In Egypt, Israel was in bondage under Pharaoh, who represents Satan, and they worked all 7 days. And that's symbolic of the world that we came out of. And now we have found rest, and we rest on the seventh day. "For my yoke is easy, and my burden is light." So he's not talking about food here, or how he wants his eggs cooked. He's talking about the atmosphere that he comes from is easy, and it's light, compared to the world that we see every day around us. Now let's go to 1 John chapter 5, because we want to learn more about this easy yoke that we have on right now. "For this is the love of God. If an alien came down to you and he showed you this is what love is, and they're an advanced beings from outer space, wouldn't you be interested? That we keep his commandments. That we do whatever we want? No. That we keep his commandments. That's love. And his commandments are not burdensome." Remember, his yoke is easy, burden light, in a world with curses. So it's tough, but going the way against him, that's burdensome. There's people who say, "I can't keep the Sabbath. I can't keep the festivals." They're saying that it's a burden. But who are they putting first? Me. So God is looking down at his footstool, looking for those who will put him first, like Abraham did. And when you commit to this path, you're free from the bonds of Pharaoh, the chains of this world, your sin. Now let's use our newfound freedom to die daily, because it's a process. 1 Corinthians 7, verse 22. "For he who has been called in the Lord, though he be a slave, is a free man in the Lord. In the same way also, he who has been called as a free man is a slave of Christ." And that's all of us. We've been called to be slaves to righteousness. And that's a good thing. So I rather follow the way that is not burdensome than my own ways. You remember the song by Sinatra? Frank Sinatra? "I did it my way." And how did it turn out for him? How many wives did he have? "For you were bought with a price." And God also bought Israel in Egypt when they were slaves. And now our master is the Father. Do not become slaves of man. Trying to please man, working for them on the Sabbath, celebrating your earthly family's holidays. You'll become their slave and they will own you. But be a slave to God. Take on his burden. Wonders will happen and joy, amazing things from God of the new universe. Now let's go to Leviticus 26. And in this chapter you have the instructions of God, that you shall not have any idols. You shall not sleep man to man or woman to woman. These are things if you do, you'll have bad results. It'll be burdensome. Sin is a curse. Now let's read verse 13. I am the Lord your God who brought you forth out of the land of Egypt from being their bondmen. And I have broken the bonds of your yoke and made you go upright. You, me, need to have vision of this and not live the burdensome life of the 7.8 billion. How's the world going? Under the captivity of Satan? So let's come out of this world and go towards that atmosphere that King Jesus came from, because we've been set free and his yoke is easy and it's joyful.
Simulation complete.